Okay, welcome to the video basically. We're going to do this live on stream similar to the G2 Genji games. I'm a League of Legends coach doing like reviews basically. Anyway, making YouTube content is very awkward for me, so we're just gonna jump into review. In case you're interested in this sort of content, follow my YouTube and especially follow my Twitch because we might have some discussions. I'm reading all of your chats. If you have any questions, just write into my Discord, whatever, right? Let's get into the gameplay. That's what we're here for. Madline T1 was one of the quickest series, I think, overall when it comes to international tournaments. I basically mostly only watched Game 3 because sadly I had to help out a neighbor. Not sadly, like someone has to do it, right? But that's why I didn't watch it, so let's actually see what happened, right? So unlike the G2 series, which I've already watched previously, I didn't watch this series previously. So you're gonna get like a very quick sort of fresh sort of opinion on it. Anyway, Lucian against Gumayusi Keria. Maybe you're scared of Lucian Nami. I think that is valid. Usually don't think it is necessary for you to bando. Kragas, respect ban against Nisqy and also a flexing from Mad Lions. Overall, Kragas one of the most underrated champions in high levels of play, while completely dominating lower levels of play. Really weird that it's always open. But anyway. Italy ban for me is always a bit of a question mark. The birds outside are way too loud. Holy shit. I hope you guys weren't able to hear it, but they're like legit shouting into my ear. Rakan ban I think is okay. I think it's a bit overrated, but whatever. Mad Lions is a Xayah team, so I think it's kind of fine to ban it. And yeah, I mean, Jace ban, sure. Against Zeus, maybe you're scared of that. Why ban, whatever. Anyway. I didn't watch much of LCK, right? What I did watch is a lot of EU. And one thing Mad Lions usually does is they prioritize. They sort of play supportive mid carry jungle, but they don't really do it with the standard carry jungles, and they still like play like Wukong via like meta junglers usually, right? But they still play very much around Elyoya reaching level 6. So what is very important is of course lane states that make it so that he's not forced to instantly come there, and of course a mid section where they can look to play together later with Hylissang matching roams. Or like timing his roam timers with his jungle and mid plays, and that's usually after Elyoya hits level 6, right? So what Elyoya usually did very well is get level 6 and then look with mid and support into enemy jungle to invade. Worked very well in the EU. Let's see how it's gonna work against T1. I'm wondering what you end up first picking here. Least on first pick Aphelios. I think Jinx Zeri is like fine. Not necessarily, like Chasy plays Kennen, so you might just go for Kennen first pick. You also ban Jay, so you should be okay. In case you do. Otherwise, it's like jungle first pick you can do. Okay, it's Kennen. Right, I think Kennen is fine. If I'm T1, I try to counterpick that plus AD carry or jungle. You've got Oner. I wonder if they prioritize just picking Lee Sin. Elyoya is also a Lee Sin player, right? I'm wondering if they do that. And then just counterpick top. I'm wondering what they will pick up. Maybe they just go Cassante because Cassante. Maybe they just go Cassante because he's OP. And then AD carry or jungle. AD carry, which is Aphelios. When I see Aphelios, what do I want to do, guys? Every single time I see Aphelios, that is right, outrange. We want to outrange his AD carry. Jinx, really, really good. Zeri also fine. Xayah playable. Carzzy plays Ezreal. Ezreal kind of sucks against Cassante though. Because I feel like Ezreal just doesn't deal damage. That's not a problem. Not a big fan of this champ. So I'd probably prefer just picking Jinx or Zeri. If you're scared of Cassante, maybe Zeri. Lisa Ezreal. Okay, any log? So that we might actually not pick AD carry then. Right? Because AD carry is still like a bit of an open role here. Can get banned out. But maybe with just the jungle plus mid, I think any flex pick, because it's a strong champion, can be fine. I know you really likes it. And now this might just, you might just like think of picking a strong jungle here. But I'd really like AD carry here. Okay, so they actually end up picking Lee Sin. Okay. Jinx should be the pick 100% here. Mixed feelings, I also prefer Jinx though. I wouldn't necessarily 100%, but I do like the Jinx quite a lot. That is true. I wouldn't mind Jinx any here. I think Jinx is just a very, very good pick because Jinx and probably like Xayah or Zeri will get banned out in the ban rotation now. I also understand they're picking Hylissang away against Oner, but it's not like they don't have other options. Right? And right now what you could do, for example, as T1 is pick Poppy jungle in case you really want to go like defensive route. Ban out 2 outranging 80 carries and then play front and back 5 with Aphelios. I don't think this would put you in a bad spot, honestly. Lulu? Sure. Right, you can just lock into front and back. Problem is if they outrange now, right? So banning outrange is a very good idea in my opinion. I think leaving Zeri open is fine, but I think you should ban Jinx. Blitzkrieg ban is of course always good though as well. Hylissang likes picking engage, right? Hylissang is a very big fan of engage. Elise ban, okay. Gisante is a flex. Banning out AP junglers makes sense for Mad Lions. I'd for sure ban Jinx. Please ban Jinx. Ari is the... You've got any in Cannon. Why do you care about Ari? I think Ari ban is really bad. I think you should ban Jinx for sure here. I like the Blitzkrieg ban against Hylissang. I don't like the... I don't like leaving Jinx open. Elise ban. I just gonna ban Nidalee as well. No, Lissandra. I think it's really whatever. T1 is playing Nautilus mid. They're playing Nautilus mid and locking on a 4. Man, that is a dream. A 5-ing jungle, man. That is a dream. I understand a little bit why they banned Ari now. Because Ari is pretty safe against this pick. Although, of course, also not necessarily the best. And then probably Nidalee coming out of R5. Oh, they slammed Xayah. Okay, they're a very big Xayah team. I mean, it's a very engagey sort of composition right now, so I think it's kind of okay. But now we probably see Nidalee come... actually, it's not a Nidalee... If this was Jinx, I would slam Nidalee here for sure. Because it's just strong mid-jungle here, and then you just give ETH to Aphelios later. But when it's Aphelios against the sort of like very much... Like, there's so much you see, I don't think you can bank on him as your sole carry. So I think you actually have to pick like second carry now. I actually think Naughty would be a good Nisqy type pick. Anita banned? Oh yeah, Nidalee's banned, true. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, Nidalee's banned. What do you end up picking then? I guess... Okay, thinking about Poppy, I think you need damage. I think you need damage. I feel like against like so much possible threat onto your AD carry, you need a second carry. Though Cassandra also deals damage as come. But I feel like you need a second carry that is not as vulnerable to their form. So if there's a carry that is good against engage sort of compositions, that's fine. But what do you pick for that in the jungle, right? You can't really go Kindred here. Can't really... You know what I would pick if you could? It's honestly Rast. I think Rast sounds kind of banger here. Hey, you're gonna get kicked around a bit though. But you've got Nautilus, you're fine. But at least in any is scary. At least in any is a bit scary. Can you go Kane? Can you go Rast? What do you pick in jungle? You could do Udyr, I guess, but no one plays that champion, let's be honest. I guess Carzzy is fine, I guess Viego's fine. I mean, I really wouldn't mind Rast. I really wouldn't mind Olaf. Olaf jungle. I know no one plays it, but I wouldn't mind that. I know no one plays Olaf, I wouldn't mind that. I think Grace is also okay. But I think we need damage that is really good against Engage. Where did they go? Not Maokai. Carzzy is fine, Carzzy is okay. I think Carzzy is okay. You're not as vulnerable to the Engage, you're pretty good when people engage onto you. And you also create more space for Aphelios. I think Carzzy is not a bad pick actually. And you've got Nautilus to make sure that your map state is fine. And Nautilus is a good lane against any, I think. The only thing is, of course, Nautilus might be a bit vulnerable to Elyoya and Nisqy. That might be about how T1 opens mid to actually make it so that Faker does not get played upon. Do you really care if like, Faker dies? I don't think so. Let's see how the game plays out. But Mad Lions, as always, enabling sort of midsection, right? You want to play with any, you want to use it onto side. Kind of the same thing for red side. And outside of you pretty much scaling quite well as well, right? But argue, wait, my camera's like going bad again. Feli's Lulu skates fantastically well here. Of course, Mad Lion's teamfight doesn't really... very easy teamfight, right? So it doesn't really fall off all too hard. But I would definitely give the skating teamfight to T1 later. So I'd like to accelerate, and the main idea with accelerating is playing onto mid, threatening mid, right? How do we accelerate, guys? We threaten, okay? So what does it mean? We go to a lane, we say that we kill them. If they back off, well, we just use the push to possibly deny them, right? Into go to jungle, go into objective, right? These sort of things, right? We accelerate by threatening. And when you can leech in any pike, it is mid lane. You play against Nautilus, so it's not as scary for Nautilus. But that is mainly what you're thinking here. ST1. As Mad Lions, I'm sorry. So what does that mean? Well, usually this means from Mad Lions is understanding when you can threaten, right? I think level 3 ganks are definitely an option. But a lot of times it is making sure you hit level 6 first, trying to make sure you don't creep early game, and that's when I usually start when I usually started playing, when I played the Vine Wukong. And I think you're as reliant to do that when you're Hylissang. But level 6 Hylissang, of course, is also very, very nice. And then if you get mid-second control, well, now you can easily play towards bot and then start threatening Gumayusi and Keria. And early on, you can try to, of course, if you get push, you can try to threaten top because you've got cannon and you might be able to stack waves top side. But most of the time, probably gonna play a little bit of economy. But for me, this means as faker, I try to set up early vision. I like it. Good, good, good. Early vision, very, very nice ward. Try to scout a bit what Hylissang does. Also scout what where he starts. Very, very important if you want to decelerate the game. And if you got a very good jungle, scaling jungle matchup, right? So while T1 also has Nautilus, which usually is a champion that rotates around the map, they don't need to really find a play because they are outscared, right? So it's still more denying the enemy in midsection than it is about enabling yours. Because slowing down the game for T1 is really, really good. Oh, Carzzy, Hylissang, slapping Gumayusi Keria. Very, very nice. Gumayusi has red weapon on Feli, so that is extra regen. Ooh, Hylissang is so giga chat. You're playing against Gumayusi Keria, like you need... Like Hylissang is really the player you want as a Western team against an Eastern team. You're playing against Gumayusi Keria, who some people argue is like the best bot lane, right, in the game, currently. And Hylissang still fair shot to them. Like, he doesn't give a shit. This is what you want. You don't want to be scared. And you're doing a 3 camp into invade because you've got the winning bot section. Gumayusi, of course, on Feli's. Feli's not the best champion level 1. Pike, pretty good, especially if he has the hook. So basically, main idea Elyoya probably has this kind of free camp in the bot side. In case the bot side wins, we can look for invade. In case they don't, I can still go to just take my top side camps. And you want to accelerate in, so looking for an invade, trying to take camps away, can be very, very good. And trying to threaten the dive as well. You get the Q, you deny a bit of gold. Keria ends up getting it, but at least Gumayusi loses a lot, so we're already starting to accelerate. Why is that important? Why is it important for us to win bot? Well, of course, it is good for us to win bot lane in general, because Gumayusi is basically the main DPS, right? So taking him out of the game is very, very good. But also the second we get a winning bot, well, now it's easier to get roam timers for Hylissang on the map. Number 1, because Xayah is safer. Number 2, because you can push out and then you get a free time as well. And when Hylissang gets free timers, well, you can use them together with Elyoya and Nisqy to invade, which is very good because you play against Kazakh's 9 camps is very, very powerful. And to start snowballing the game. Because the longer the game goes, the harder it is for you. And you also find the invade. The early game here, game 1 by Mad Lions, is not bad. Right? Winning bot lane, threatening dive, looking for the invade, already accelerating. This is not necessarily the best, so you might need to set up your bot lane for a reset here. Huh? I still need to respect that I don't know where Hylissang is. Hylissang really should make sure that he doesn't get spotted now, though. You might look for an invade because you might expect Hylissang to be on his Raptors. But Oner plays it down safe. Tries to find the play on the Nisqy. Woo! Woo! It's such a good early game, my man. I shouldn't do that, man. It's so bad for my voice. Oh, no, 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 no. I did such a good early game, my man. What? Like, it's so good. It's basically doing all the things you want to do. You stop a mid-section, you take out their win condition, right? League of Legends is always about making sure you win the hardest and making sure they lose the hardest, right? This is what it's about. Gumayusi falling behind, really huge. Oner making it harder for him to get his experience, which is really important. As Carzzy, of course, won level 6 and level 11. Very powerful ult, plus the evolve, right? And starting to snowball your midsection. Really, really powerful. So what do you do from here? Baker still has flash, probably able to crash the wave. Can't really look for the play here. But Elyoya already snowballed in experience. Should make it so it's easy for him to get to level 6 and then already start snowballing again, right? What would I do here as Elyoya? Probably look for mid lane plays and in general just maybe take a few of my camps. Making sure I clear my top side is very good at first because afterwards I probably want to end up playing on bot. So I don't really want to leave my top side camps up. Although of course my raptors and my stones are higher level, so they're currently more value. Oh, now it's really itchy. Very good start, insane start, beautiful start to the game. And now Elyoya Hylissang unlocked. Open mid, make sure Annie is fine. Shift with Annie towards bot lane. Really, really good. Really, really good. How did they lose this game? The start of the game is beautiful. The start of this game is beautiful. Beautiful start to the game. What happens, man? What happens? Okay, T1 is contesting. Honestly, when I see the CST1, like, I feel like they're desperate. So what could they have done differently already? Major problem, of course, is how you played first few ways on bot. Of course, you should reduce damage HP, and Carzzy should be able to match bot, right? So that is part of the problem, because now this already allows you to like walk here again and threaten dive again, right? So this is very much about Gumayusi and Keria early laning, similar to G2 Gen G Game 2, right? Where very bad early laning results in you getting punished already, and then afterwards even more so, right? So this dive would not happen nearly as hard if bot lane wasn't losing it this hard already. Okay? But really good by mid line to punish, falling back onto Dragon, getting the objectives to start stacking. Really, really good. Okay, really, really good. Gumayusi still was in base. Now you might be able to open bot side again. You actually don't end up getting the Dragon, but you still end up trading 1 for 2, so that's good. And now Gumayusi still needs to go base, ends up dying here. Very nice. And now you can just reset together, open mid. You're there first, unless they full swap. But if they full swap, might be able to cross that bot. The Carzzy actually rotates up. I think that is okay. I really wouldn't mind just chilling in mid, trying to get mid section, and Carzzy hitting and just waiting to see what they do. I understand waiting until Aphelios is there again, and then rotating can be scary because Aphelios might be able to crash next wave, especially because 830 is cannon, and then look to play for 2 blade things himself. But I think it's a more consistent way. You might as well just end it on a 5-man team fight because Hylissang has gold drink in minute 7, so it's like kind of free. I just don't know. I sort of understand why T1 sends it top. I also don't understand why. I feel like the idea to match heraldry is not really good. Maybe you're scared of botlane just answering and Carzzy just being there and clearing the wave. I don't know what T1 is like thinking here, but considering Gumayusi should be able to hit red-white here with good ability usage, he might be able to play 1 or 2 plating, probably 2 platings himself on bot, and of course that's a lot more gold, and of course experience with the wave that you're gonna take for you to get back into the game. Although I'd also understand if T1 thinks they need to find a catch. Huh? How does Matt lose this game? I mean, Illy gets caught, but how does T1... okay, they're greeting a little bit, giving Gumayusi bait things here, but... It's still really good, man. You're 4k ahead, mid lane is on mega chunked. It's so easy to... It should be so easy to play the map right now. It should be so easy. What is happening? Alright, Dragon is up. Gonna look to start Dragon stacking as well. Play mid lane wave together into bot side. I don't like Carzzy being bot lane here. I think Carzzy should just stay in mid. I understand the idea if you want to take like the wave deep, but he's just not allowed to because you don't really have vision. You've got this ward, so maybe you think he's safe. Oner doesn't have ult, so I guess he should be safe. He's playing against Lulu if he wants to take the wave deep. So maybe in this scenario it should be fine. Usually I just prefer, in case there's no way for you to take instantly, to just be with your team in mid, to make it 100% for you to play this, maybe get T1, and then go and get full control, right? Because if we look at team fights, while of course spikes are also very important, main thing we're also looking for team fights is how people want to play team fights, and for both teams, they'll really want to be on objective first. So usually you want to be on objective first anyway, right? Because in most cases, it's better for you to be there first. But if you look at the champions, Xayah and the Fellies, both of the carries, really preferring if enemies run into them. And then, especially for mid lines, right? You've got so much AoE, right? And AoE, especially AoE CC with Cannon, with Annie, and the Xayah feathers, it's very, very beneficial if people have to come for choke points, which is the case if you're on objective first, right? So I really wouldn't mind Carzzy just being in mid still, making sure you 100% have control. I understand here, there should be no way that they play onto him, right? And actually, because they've got no play, I guess you can look for the bot and play instantly, but I think it's a bit greedy. I'd rather just do Drake. But now you have to go mid lane again, right? So this sort of like part... Well, I understand why Medlines does it, right? They're looking for the bot lane play. I think it's unrealistic, but it's fine. And then you just do Drake one wave later. Ah, well, it's fine. It's okay. I understand why they're bot. It makes sense. What can T1 do? Well, honestly, if I didn't know how the series would end, I'd be like, there's no way T1 wins. For me, there's no way that T1 wins this game. Because you're so far ahead. I mean, Zeus just solo kills Cannon, so that's just unlucky. On the mid section right now, so far ahead, you just push up mid, go into side. Push up mid, go into side. Push up mid, go into side. And you do that to get yourself the objectives. I'm really wondering how T1 gets back into the game. Because of course, the team fight later is definitely very good, but it's not like Mad Lions is one is bad. And the second you're ahead with their composition, right, their comp is very, very suffocating the second they get ahead. Why? Because they're very good at catching, they're very good at zone control. And playing against these teams when they're in control and get onto objective first is very, very hard. Especially if you don't have the best options to set up side. So Zeus starting to win lane is of course very important, because if you don't win midsection when it's like even midsection, right, like 5v5 or like 3v3, right, it is very, very nice if you can push outside, someone needs to answer, and then Zeus goes into mid. And then maybe you can get mad advantage, right? So that is a possibility when you win side, or Kha'Zix opening, like, or your overall overloading side, right? So that is a possibility. My voice is already dying, so that sucks a bit. Right, so that is maybe something you think about. So I like what he's doing here, right? So this is basically what I mean, what T1 should do. You overload side, try to get a catch, to possibly get yourself back in the game with extra economy, and otherwise, if you have a long lane, and for that you really need long lane. So actually, this game, it's kind of nice for Mad Lions to keep their T1s. Is you can push out, rotate mid, maybe get man advantage, and then maybe you can play, right? Whereas with even man, when you 5k gold behind, it is unrealistic, even if you're better at team fighting, to win a team fight. Because Mad Lions comp is also very easy to fight with, right? It's very, very easy to fight with them. The only problem that you have though is if you threaten these topside players, well, now you can get crossed with the pot. I still like it though what you want to do, because I feel like if you don't, you're just gonna end up losing anyway. It's a 1-for-1 trade, so it's not really the best, but maybe you can chunk it a little bit more again. Getting the top into 1 is not bad. Getting another plating, not bad. Gumayusi Keria now trying to be top, trying to play for it. Ahmed defending it. Unlucky. Woo! How the heck does Mad Lions use this game? How? It's a 3-0, no? It's not a 3-1. How did they lose? T1 is so forced to play onto Mad Lions here. Right, so I like what they're doing here. They're trying to instantly go for catch on Chasy. Right, they understand we're not going to be able to play on Carzzy, right? So you understand you can't contest midsection, so you open side, which is good, right? We've been talking about it. And of course it's not going to be on Carzzy's side, because he will play towards Carzzy, and he is ult, and Xayah ult, of course, and he has flash, right? So it's very, very hard to kill him. So Chasy is the one target to play on. The thing with Kennen though, right, is I don't even mind Chasy playing a bit aggressively, because as long as he takes the wave away, you might be still able to get more on the other side of the map. Right? You might still be able to get more.
Early in this game, last outer tower right now being taken by Carzzy. Not only is that a bunch of extra money into the Mad Lions carry here, but
Chasy, beating up the Mad Lions. The only member that's only marginally ahead gets a lot of damage.
So Chasy trying to get out. One thing I dislike though is if you're gonna die here, better die fast, so you're able to set up objective with your teammates. And possibly take the wave if you can. Ah no, it. Can we stop playing like this, please? Mad Lions got greedy, didn't they? They got greedy, didn't they? Chasy overextending the side, which I think is okay if we get more out of it. I don't think Chasy dying that really matters all too much, to be honest. But this is horrible. Can you please stop setting up from bot? Like, you've got Harmony midsection. Like, stop setting up where they want you to set up. Stop face checking. They need to catch you. Wait. Open mid. Open mid side. Open mid side. And then maybe side into mid again, right? But don't open side. I don't understand why you would do that. Even if you lose T1, it doesn't matter. Like, the most important thing is you just don't get caught. No. But Lions is too greedy here.
But that means he's base first into Carzzy. Luca likes another one fresh off of his recall from the top side of the map, and they're gonna have another dragon problem to deal with pretty soon.
And I think it's fair to say they feel like chasing the loss. T1 is such a difficult situation. Any gold is good, but unfortunately they overstep just enough for Mad Lions to punish. And Zeus might be in trouble here as well.
I don't like this catch.
Into the kick, landing absolutely everything. I mean, Zeus just in a 2v1.
But this is so whatever. It's okay to get it, but it's so whatever. I'd rather already set up the objective. I'd rather already set up an objective. Because you're not going to lose the fights anyway, right? So, rather don't give the position objective. Because if you give position objective, maybe they can contest. Maybe they can. I like what Medland says, though. You zone them out of position. Good. You do Herald. But they're there first, right? So you only play for steal. Don't play for fight. 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 Please, 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 no. Please don't. 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 Please don't play for fight. Please don't play for fight. Please. Please. Please don't play for fight. No. Why? Why? I didn't watch the games before, so like I'm still emotional about it, but it's just always so sad to see, right? Because it's very obvious from an outside perspective. And I understand on stage against fucking T1, and I'm sorry for swearing, right? But if you play on stage and you early game stopping T1, you're hyped. I understand. People will make mistakes, right? It just still feels bad if it's a mistake like that. Because what is their strength? It is front and back team fight, and you're running into them. Right? You're giving them their strength. What is your strength? But it's either Chasy being on flank, Chasy doesn't have a flank, right? Or if people have to come to you. Which is even better, right? Because if people come into you, it's like easier to flank them again, right? But you basically give them their strength, throwing them away goals. Doing it in a fight like this, it just feels so bad. It's so sad. It's so sad. Because you see this fight and you know T1 will win it. You know T1 will win it. And of course, if you play the game, it's way harder to see, right? It's way harder to see. It's just still so sad. It's just so sad. Because now you see, look. Oh well, now T1 is running into you. Well, now you're winning the fight again. T1 runs into you. Well, now you're winning the fight again. Now you run into T1. Oh, now you lose again. I know outside of the game is always more obvious. But you just threw so hard, man. You just threw so hard. It's so sad, man. It's so sad. By the way, please, 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 please. I understand you still want to play Nautilus even without AP carries. I feel like if you play Nautilus mid lane and you still go Abyssal Mask, I feel like you're kind of griefing, no? If you go Nautilus mid and you go Abyssal Mask and you've got 0 magic damage, I think you're mega griefing. No, just go even shot. Like, just rush even shot. Don't give a shit. Right, that is so bad. Maybe you need the mana. Do you need the mana? I'm not sure. But then I'd rather just not finish the item and just go Catalyst into even shot. Like, it's kind of creepy.
More scrappy like this, the better for the possible comeback.
Anyway.
My goodness, that just got crazy.
I've seen a lot of T1.
It's just so sad. Like, it's very, very depressing. What do you do at this point? Well, you still get mid-section control, so please get mid-section control, right? Open mid. From mid, play onto side. From side, play onto mid, right? You basically swap between two-wave systems, right? You will hear me talk about two-wave systems. What the heck do I mean with that? Do I still have it open? Okay. This website is actually pretty cool. Okay, basically, two-wave systems is the following. This is a dev build. Features are getting added over time. Okay, where's that map state? Okay, actually pretty cool. Okay, anyway, right? What do I mean with two-wave systems? Basically, you're gonna open mid, right? If you have mid-section control, right? Being chilling. You're gonna push out mid, okay? Pushing out mid. What do we do after? Well, we shift into side, help side and push out. So what happens if we push up mid? Well, first of all, they have to answer mid, right? Nice. Then they need to answer top, because now we're pressuring top. What do we do afterwards? Well, we go back onto mid. And have someone send someone already to bot, because they kind of need to answer mid and then they need to answer top lane, right? And now we're gonna push out that lane again. It's very hard for them to catch us, because they're behind when it comes to rotation. And it's very easy to keep control. Is that the most efficient, best way to play? Always? Not necessarily, right? But it's really easy when you're ahead and you just want to keep control. Because the main goal for you is to just keep control over the objective. Because if you keep control over the objective and you just don't get caught, well, now you've got your front and back fight. And if you're already ahead, and that is your strength, and when it comes to a fight, you really don't mind going for this sort of fight, right? So Mad Lions here is sort of doing it, right? They're pressuring here, but it's going too deep. Yeah, just going too deep. Just going too deep. Just going too deep. Now you allow them to creep. This is the problem, right? This is not what you want to do. You're too early. This is the mid lane wave, after which you go topside, for example, right? You play mid, they need to answer, now you go. Right? Or you can sort of go like while you push out, right? But you don't go before you pushed out. Because right now they don't need to answer yet. Right? So it's so weird how Mad Lions is in control and they completely give it up. It's really big in it. And it's very good by T1 to be so decisive, right? They're just sending it into enemy jungle, which is good. But it's still a bit crazy that you just give it to them.
At T1, that goal deficit, I still feel like it should matter. I just don't think that it does.
I love it. Fight their way out of it. It's up to
Still have a really big map control advantage with the amount of objectives that they have. I think what's very crucial as well, we have to keep rising those flashes. And Chasy had flash in the Dragonflight, he could have got that slicing
It's just sad.
into T1's team. But he didn't, so therefore it didn't have that same impact. Mad Lions are still up significantly. 4 towers to 0. That 4,000 gold we talked about, we're a minute away from the next dragon, but we're not playing for soldiers here. It'll still be many minutes before that's impacted.
So here's what has to happen for Mad Lions. They have all of the playmaking flashes available. Chasy flash, Nisqy flash, Hylissang flash already, and they have to be able to get Guma with one of those. If one of those players can make the big play with the Annie stun, with the Kennen stun, they have to just get flash.
Now we get control again. Keep control. Next objective is coming up. It's Hextech, so it's a very, very good dragon. And it's a very, very good soul. How does T1 get free control here? How do they get free control? Okay, second thing you want to do if you're front and back, especially against other front and back comps, is reset earlier. You don't want to overstay on the map. Because you're getting extra camps. But what are you losing? Well, by staying extra long on the map, if you reset now after they do, and they reset right now, what happens? Well, now they get control. What is the problem about them getting control? Number one, they can move first onto objectives. Number two, they can fix outsides. And usually front and back comes on to play together, right? So if they fix outsides, you need to answer. Well, now they get man advantage again, right? That's basically what they did earlier on during the game, right? Where T1 opens side, because you need to look for like a cross map play through their plays. And the second, you can push outside, now you can shift into mid with man advantage, right? That's what you're trying to do as T1. If Mad Lions is late to the map, well, T1 can pretty much like do this a lot easier. You still need to answer, or you're gonna give up golden experience, which is good for T1, right? You're gonna get golden experience. Mad Lions is gonna lose it. Well, guess what? That's closing the gap, right? And you're able to get control. Are you able to free fight? No, right? But you can basically just trade positions on objectives. If you're sending it on Drake now, well, that's good for you. And if you're sending it on Nash, and now they're here, and then you hover, maybe you can get a good fight, because you're in position for fight, right? So that can be good for you. Or, Mad Lions is giving you more time. And when you've got Aphelios, Lulu, and Kha'Zix, and partly Cassante, having more time is beautiful because that is more time where you can scale. Okay? So Mad Lions being on the map for so long right now and only resetting right now allows T1 to regain control over the map. And they're sending it as 5, right? They're respecting that they might get caught, especially against with a composition like Mad. And they're just sending it as 5. Oner staying in fog. And now you get a position. And you can't just go Drake. You cannot. Right? You need to slowly get control of midsection again. Set up some vision. And then you can go into Drake. It's extra time for you. It's extra time for T1. Here in this case, it's not that much time. But it's still a good try for them. It's still a good way for them to play. Mad Lions is still like very far ahead, though, right? You saw how far they're ahead. They are still now. Imagine how insanely ahead they were earlier. And if when they just completely threw it, unlucky. You want to play on the back on the objective here. I really dislike Chase's position. I think Chasy should be on flank. Chasy needs to get onto Gumayusi. Chasy being here is not good in my opinion. I'd rather Chasy be on the flank. And of course, Gisante will look to scout for Chasy, right? So it's gonna not be that easy. But they sort of still need to get onto you. Flipping it. Like flipping an objective against Carzzy just sucks. And don't front the back. Don't engage onto them. Don't engage onto them. Kite back, kite back, kite back, kite back. This game is over. It's not over, right? But if you play like this, then the game is just over. Why do you flip? Why do you... Huh? No, this smite was just horrible by Elyoya. I understand the idea of having Xayah, right? And you can time a smite on Xayah feathers. But just time the smite on Xayah feathers. I really want to hear Mad Lions comms now. How do you lose this? Because I hope Carzzy shouting, I will E, you smite on E. Nice. Having it on Xayah feathers is fine. But if you don't, it sucks, man. And now you're engaging onto the enemy because you're mad. And now you give them fire back. And Chase's position is so horrible. Like being on objective here feels so bad. Because look, like you're not able to get like anything. Like it's so easy for Gumayusi to just cut out again, right? And then the game is just really hard, rough to play. They get Nash, they get extra kills again. It sucks, man. It sucks. I feel so bad, man, to see this. Because Mad Lions had such a beautiful early game. It was really, really good early game. Really, really good early game. Insanely good early game. But now it's just so rough because now you lose Nash. You're just gonna get back more goals again. And T1 scales really well. Carzzy's level 30 now, so he's got... I mean, he probably has Q evolve because like that's what everyone does for some cringe reason. Yeah, he has Q evolve looking at his claws, right? So he's Q and W. When I think in these sort of games it's for sure R. I don't understand why people do Q evolve. You're never gonna Q multiple times. It's all about creating space. And I think Q evolve is bad. We don't have like the Argo intake where I think like rushing Q evolve is always bad. I don't think so. I think it has spots where it can be good. Although not to flame Argo, of course. But this game is just not a Q evolve game first. You're never gonna Q multiple times. These fights go so fast. It's so much about creating space. And extra range and like extra range just doesn't matter. Not a Mega Doomed now yet. But it's a similar problem again, right? So I don't necessarily mind playing for top 22 and then pushing out so they need to answer, right? I don't necessarily mind that. The important thing for me here is just, as like at least it would be if I'm at Lions, right? Is being to mid lane first again. Taking away the cross map is good for sure. Getting top 22 for you is good for sure. But the most important thing is that I'm on mid lane first. Because T1 is coming from base. What does it mean if they're coming from base? Well, if they're coming from base, they don't need to base anymore. Mad still need to. So if they're base right now, while T1 gets control. So this is their Drake. This is their Drake. Mad Lions should already look for cross map again.
And set up flanks. I mean, that Humble Grave from Oner done so much value. It was the first time he picked up. Faker once again finds initiation. Guma just melts Mad Lions. That Moonlight Vigil depth charge was... Unless Hilly? No, I don't think it's gonna happen. I mean, right now, Nisqy screaming, have you...
This game is over, sadly.
You've been dead so many times in these teamfights.
And now all of a sudden, if you look at the man comp and you're not able to play out the...
Aphelios scaled, GG, deals 10 million damage. It's Aphelios Lulu, he has a lot of peel. Carzzy deals decent amount of damage, and Cassandra is also very happy playing against Blue Side team.
Now, I will say, I've been a bit down on Mad Lions for a lot of damage to play, which is fair. However, they do still...
You thought it was quick before.
And I think it's also...
Guma is able to finish his Lord Dom.
Now the question is, does Mad Lions still get control of mid
He
section?
already is.
You thought it was quick before.
And I think the answer is...
There's no real tech, so even though they've got a lot of damage themselves, look at that.
Not really. I think they will kind of get it when Carzzy is his fourth item.
Which is fair. However, they do still have all of those tools. They now have their flashes available.
But it's not easy. Well, actually, maybe you still get it. At least you're red-white.
They can regain some semblance of control.
Green-white, you may be able to contest it as T1, no?
Because as you mentioned,
Or like with blue.
they don't want to soak any damage, so you have to create your openings then with the large amount of CC that you do have. And what's important as well,
But it's all about who gets control.
ever since they've had the opportunity,
Because whoever gets control here
like they have not split
gets onto objective first.
They will protect Gumayusi with anyone else's life. Everybody protect the president here. As long as Guma is standing, T1 hopes are real.
I mean, that's exactly how it's
And Carzzy's right, it's basically protected
3
president.
minutes away from this T1.
And this is what I mean, it's carry jungle, supportive mid, and hyper carry. That is what the meta is all about.
Push towards the base, push towards the inhibitor. T1, they set their sights on the ground. Look at that damage!
Nice, they get it, catch, good.
But the Dread's like an extra
Don't run down,
used.
don't run into them, don't run into them. Stop running into them!
Faker gets another. Nisqy uses the outlaw to
Please stop running into them!
Chasy with slicing Maelstrom gets the least...
What the fuck?
And T1 are gonna get the
No, stop, please!
And Hilly's the man. Melting. Zeus
Why?
has been used. Bone, skewer, flash. Guma, there's no one to jump back on him. And Hilly's the man.
Can you please stop running into the front and back com?
And Guma's done it once
Without a
again.
flank.
Maelstrom the man. That's targeted down. Faker gets another. Nisqy uses the outlaw to device. And Guma's done it once again. Chasy with slicing Maelstrom gets the lead. Zeus, but close enough to push towards. Dragon's Rage has been used. Bone, skewer. On
And
the
just
look at that.
wait.
Oh my word, Carzzy melting.
Look at Chasy. Chasy can get a flank. Just Chasy flank. Do this play like 20 seconds later. Like not even, like 15 seconds later. And it can be good. It can be really good. But not now. Not like this.
But the Dread's like an extra. Dragon's Rage has been used. Bone, skewer, flash. Guma, there's no one to jump back on him. And Hilly's the man. That's
I mean, I really gotta watch EU series before I review them on stream, man. Like, I'm getting emotional, man.
But Mad Lions are
Ah, what is this?
They're gonna get the Baron after that one. Mad Lions, they got their initial pick and they just saw the win in their eyes. They tried too
Man,
hard.
what are you doing?
Hilly does get the pull, but nobody's there for the follow.
But this is what I mean, right? Like, from an outside perspective, it's so easy to see. Of course, in game, it's very, very hard. Especially if you were ahead and you threw it, and now you see you play and you try your best.
Clearing the board.
But how does it ever work?
And crucially, even though here a lot of damage is going to the front, like look at Guma. No one is touching him. And as we said, you gotta protect the president. If he's alive and well, you're in trouble. And if he and Keria get to flash forward in the team fight, it is saved a little bit there. I think at least get some money. They get a shutdown kill at the end, but it is gonna cost them.
The fight decision making is just so bad. It just feels so bad. I'm really wondering what like the communication setup is at this point. Because I understand, like I've been already saying multiple times, in this series you will make mistakes. But I'm really wondering what leads them to make these mistakes. Because these are really big fundamental mistakes to do this. The mistakes when it comes to way set up this game here, where they got caught in the enemy jungle, and the fight decisions, I think is such a big it's a fundamentals mistake. They really don't want to make fundamentals mistake when... GG. Does anyone have any questions about this game? Does anyone have any questions? My hair is so scuffed actually. Thanks. Anyway, does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any questions? I sound so depressed, do I not? I sound so depressed, do I not? Anyway. I was such a good early game and you just threw it all away. With greedy way setup. And with just bad fight decisions. And it's very, like, Mad Lions know how they fight, right? I'm wondering if the pressure got to their head. Or like throwing the early game got to their head. I'm really wondering. So this is why I was really cringing about the post, by the way, by, I think his name is DIEMdodo, where he was like mad that Nisqy was happy after like losing. When it is all about like, if you're sad and you can't control your emotions during a series, this is what happens. I'd rather have Nisqy rolling on the ground, laughing his ass off after this game. Because the mindset, like I feel like the mindset of, and of course like I don't want to interpret like things, right? Too much. But I feel like the mistakes Mad Lions do in this game is very much about them being tilted and frustrated of throwing the early game. That's what it feels like to me. Because of course T1 was very good when it comes to fundamentals of like getting back into the game and cheesing. Right? Which is not a bad thing by T1, right? It's very good how they did it. Opening side was good. Getting the plays on Chasy was good. Right? Punish greedy rotations is good. Displaying to the strength of your team condition is good. But I feel like the mistakes that Mad Lions did was like it just feels to me was a result of tilt. I'm not like I don't want to interpret too much into it, right? But it's understandable if you're tilted after throwing an early game like that. It's understandable if you are, or if you're getting a bit greedy because you're stomping T1 in early game in MSI. Of course you'd get a bit greedy, and of course it's tilting if you lose the early game afterwards. Of course it is. I feel like Chasy just wasn't used to fight because of their positioning. Yeah, but it's like partly Chasy's fault, but it's partly his fault. His teammates going in way too deep before he can set up a flank. It's a problem. Because your goal about mid lines is front and backing, killing them in choke points. Why are you running in choke points yourself? It is the greed that is coming in. And I understand why it's coming in, right? It makes sense. It's only human to make these sort of mistakes. It just still feels bad to make them. I'm still wondering what the setup of like their communication setup was in this game. And where the mistakes were. Like what sort of mistake, like communication issues lead to these mistakes that lead to these greedy fights. That is what I'm wondering. And this is why whenever you see me coach, like players when it comes to competitive, I always drill the same communication things. I always drill lists of, okay, we look this, we look this, we look this, we look this. What is our strength of we fight? Okay, what is our strength? What is their strength? No matter what. I always drill it. And like my players are sometimes pissed, coach, we have to do it again. Yes, we fucking have to do it again. Because it's important. Because if you're going to play against the T1s of your league, right? You want to make sure it's a habit. You want to make sure it's normal for you to do it every single time. Because if it isn't normal for you anymore, if you don't do it automatically, now mistakes can happen. And this, I feel like, is partly what happened this game. And this is, of course, no shot to Mad Lions coaching staff. I think Mad Lions coaching staff is absolutely amazing. Big respect to the coaching staff. I think they're really, really fucking good. But this is why, like, these sort of things are very, very important. So in case people are nervous, right, that there's the highest chance that they can replicate what they did in practice phase. Oh, it's easier to see when you watch it, I guess. Of course it is. You're like 6k gold ahead against T1. MSI, best of 5. Of course you will be nervous. Of course you will mistakes and of course you will greed. It's human. I'm not blaming them for it. Right? What I'm looking for is what were the mistakes they did? Asking yourself what led to these mistakes and what they can possibly try to do. Of course here, it's hard because I have no insights on the communication structure. And of course, I think the Mad Lions coaching staff is really, really amazing. And they know what to work on. Right? I'm not saying that I have more more knowledge on like communication setups, right? But this would be like my sort of approach after this game. What were the mistakes we did? And then try to make sure we keep tilt at the least amount possible. That is why I was really, really frustrated with the tweet by the one like LVP caster, Mayado, I think. Is his name? I don't know. I don't know like caster personality so much. Right? But that is why I was really frustrated with it. Because you need your players to keep mental after these games. You need it. Because if you lose your mental in the best of 5, you're already lost. And I know his point was it is about afterwards, right? But in the tournament, you also can't lose your mental after the tournament. It doesn't matter if players are happy after losing. I mean, Nisqy is probably not happy, right? Of course he's not happy, right? But if he's laughing or if he's crying, it doesn't matter. You know what matters? Is that they're in the mindset of, fuck, we got shit stomped. How do we learn from it? So the next series we play better. That is the only thing that matters. If my player does it after crying, if my player does it after laughing his ass off after getting shit stomped, I don't care. But I need my player to, and that is what I need to do as a coach, right? I need to make sure my player is in the mindset of, okay, fuck, we lost. How do we play better? I want to improve. How do we make sure we win next series? How do we play the best we can in the next series? How do we learn the most out of this defeat? This is the one thing I need from my players. If they can give me that, I'm entirely happy. And making sure we've got this mindset in the team is one of the most important things you can do as a coach. But basing it on a reaction of a player after a series is really cringe. And from my opinion, and I said it on stream, didn't say it on stream. And I said it on Twitter. Expecting Nisqy to not have emotional control after the series and be sad. And then us being mad at him lashing back at a caster after calling him a loser, or saying he has loser mentality, we're just calling him a loser, right? It's cringe to me, right? Either you expect him to have emotion regulate, or not have emotion regulation after a series, after a loss like that, or you do. But you can bet your ass off if you're flaming me after a series for not having emotion regulation, I'm also calling your mom a hoe. Fuck it. I do the same shit. Fuck you. If you do that to one of my players, you can bet your fucking ass off I'm at your throat. And I'm not saying that Meg should have done that at all, right? I'm saying what I would have done. And I would make sure that they blame us as much as possible on me, because I don't need my players to have even more pressure after getting shit stomped. I don't need that. I need them to be back in the practice room, practicing their ass off, because it turns out there's a loser's bracket. So make sure you're back to working as quick as possible, learn from it, and perform the best you can after. Nisqy was probably mad as fuck already, but decided not to show it. Of course you're mad. Like, how the fuck do you think Nisqy is happy after losing? How the fuck do you think that? I'm sorry that I'm swearing, but how the fuck? Of course he's not happy. But being mad about it doesn't change it. The only thing that matters is, okay, today fucking sucked. What do we learn from it? Back to the drawing room, back to the practicing room. How do we make sure we win the next one? That is the only thing that matters. Egoing on someone and imposing your values of how they should feel after the series is one of the most cringe fucking things you can do. Fuck off. Fuck off. I'm sorry. I don't want to, like, I hope there's not, like, LVP fans here that are gonna get mad at me. But straight up, fuck off. Like, come on. Shit talking a play after losing a series, fuck off. And I don't care if people meme Flecker, because that's what I saw, like, on Twitter. But what did he say when Flecker was, like, memed on? Well, first of all, who memed on Flecker after the series? First of all, that. And second of all, just shut up. Either be better or shut up. Those without sin cast the first stone. And of course here we're also criticizing. Of course here we are. And we're also memeing. But you can bet your fucking ass off I will never ever tweet, like actually tweet, that someone has a loser's mentality. I might say, brother, you fucking inted. I might say that. Or like, yikes up inting XD, right? After like he did like a bad play, right? I might do that. But definitely not like this. And you can also bet your ass off that in case a player performed bad on stage, I'm in their DMs wishing them good luck in the game. Before even this cringe shit happens. You can bet your fucking ass off I'm in their DMs. Because I hope they will never see my DMs until after the tournament. I fucking hope I do. Because I really don't wish the DMs they probably have right now on anyone. On my worst enemies, I wouldn't wish their DMs that they probably get right now. Holy Dodo, mad? Yeah, I'm mad. Like, stop imposing your values on others, man. Straight up. Anyway. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm cutting that into the game one for, like, the YouTube. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. It's a bit unprofessional, I got mad, but it's fine. Anyway, that was, like, game one. If you have any questions, check me out. Just message me on Twitter, message me on Discord. My socials are probably below the videos. Gotta see how I'm going to do it. How I'm gonna upload them. Anyway. That is it for this YouTube video. Always doing these live on stream, so check that out. Anyway, game 2. Let's make a cut here.